What is up, everyone? Welcome to Black Voices in Gaming. I'm Jada Griffin, the community lead for IGN, and I'm one of your hosts today as we sit down and talk with Destinee from Black Voices in Gaming. Hey, Destinee, how's it going?
Hey, great to be here.
Professor Onion themselves, Jace Boechler, is in the building to talk Little Hellions.
Hello.
And the captain of space himself, Graham Reid, is here to talk about his game, Super Space Club. I'm so excited to have you guys all here. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourself? Destinee, I'll start with you.
Okay, well, my name's Destinee. I have been with Black Voices in Gaming for a little over a year now. Super honored to always be a part of it and showcase Black Voices and use the platform to uplift other developers. I also work with Level 1 Gaming. It's a minority-owned organization that focuses on news, games, all things geek culture, and I'm a marketing manager at Freedom Games Publishing. So I do a lot of stuff within the industry.
That's a lot of hats. That's a lot of hats. And yeah. You know what? Kudos to you. Jace, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Jace. I run a solo development studio, Schadenfreude. My first project, which is in early access now, is Little Hellions. I like pizza. I draw lots of art with pizza. That's my whole thing. It's just that.
Jace, we're gonna be best friends. Pizza is like my go-to meal that I could eat every day for the rest of my life. And so yeah, we're gonna be good friends after this.
You shouldn't, for the record, you shouldn't do that.
And I don't.
I just learned this recently, actually.
Oh. Breaking news, everybody! Don't eat pizza every day.
As much as you want to.
Finally, but definitely not the least, whatever. You know how that saying actually goes. Graham Reid is here. How's it going, Graham? Welcome for joining. Thank you for joining us.
Last but not least.
There we go. That's it.
Also known as Graham of Legend. And I'm working on a game called Super Space Club. I am from Jamaica. Flew all the way over to New York and I've been here ever since. And I also love pizza. So there.
Well, I've got
eat every day. Yeah. Don't listen to Jace. You can eat every single day if you want.
Now I feel bad because I didn't talk about my love of pizza, but I'm not just jumping on the bandwagon. I also enjoy pizza.
I feel like we're just.
I don't know if I love it as much as you love it, but I like it. I enjoy it.
We're just gonna have to set a pizza date between the four of us when we're all meeting to play everybody's games.
I'm not gonna ask the pineapple question. I'm not gonna do that.
Okay, that's totally fine.
No,
that's
don't
fair.
do that.
Let's keep it positive here, right? I'm very excited to make my debut here in a Black Voices in Gaming stream, and even more excited to get to chat with all of you wonderful people. You guys are immensely talented. I've got a chance to check out your two games for Jace and Graham. And Destinee, I've seen you on Black Voices in Gaming constantly, so I'm very excited to chat with you about more stuff around that. I hope everybody out there is excited to get some exclusive first looks and chat about Little Hellions and Super Space Club. But before we jump into those games, Destinee, I wanted to chat with you about Black Voices in Gaming as an organization. Can you give a rundown on Black Voices in Gaming for somebody who might be tuning in for their first Black Voices in Gaming stream?
Absolutely. So Black Voices of Gaming kind of started around the time that the incident with George Floyd happened. There was a lot of talk about representation and just Black lives in general. And so Justin, he told me a story once where it was like he was in all of these business calls and he felt like people weren't as concerned about the issues as he was as an African American. And I could totally kind of relate to that because at the time I was living in South Korea. So it's kind of a feeling of isolation. One of the things that's so amazing about it is that Justin and Alfonso Hooker decided to create this organization, basically giving a place for Black developers up and coming to have a platform to show off their games and basically let the public see what they were creating and working on. Now, it started off as a showcase, and for some of the groups we want to thank are Raw Fury, IGN itself, Twitch. Those companies were kind of fundamental in making this happen. And not only is it a showcase, but it's now turned into a nonprofit. So now we're able to give developers mentorships, guidance. We're able to put them in touch with the right people so that they can see their dreams come true, like their games can be put out there. So for example, Graham and Jace are on today, and that's because they were on Black Voices in Gaming, and now you've gotten to see their game, and now we're on IGN, and a ton of other people are going to see their game. And that's kind of what Black Voices is doing. It's giving Black developers a voice in the gaming industry.
That's amazing. I love. I didn't realize you guys had turned nonprofit, and that's amazing. That's such a huge step in helping fund or just get the name out for so many smaller developers that are just jumping into the world of game development. I think so. Black Voices in Gaming has showcased a ton of great games for the past years. It's introduced me to great games like Aerial Knights Never Yield, Treachery and Beatdown City, Validate, and plenty more. I can't name all of them because there's just too many that I've played. I think what I love most about these showcases, though, is that I'm surprised by all the new games that I haven't seen before. It exposes me to these new games that I've never seen, and that's my favorite thing about any showcase. Like, I know what I like. Show me something I don't know about. How about you, Destinee?
I think that's what's really important. I think that if we didn't have a platform like Black Voices in Gaming, unfortunately, you wouldn't be able to see a lot of these games that are being made. And when we talk about representation and diversifying the industry, it also comes with the different types of games and different ideas and all these creative minds coming together to make these beautiful works of art, basically. And I would absolutely agree with you. There are times that I know that there's certain genres that I love to play, but being a part of this, I've gotten so excited. Every time I've hosted it, I've been so excited for each of the games that have come out and the developers talking about it and feeling that connection. Man, I cannot wait till this game comes out. I'm going to wishlist it. I can't wait to buy it because it looks fun. And I think having that connection with the developer and their story, it makes it even, I don't want to say sentimental, but it makes it, I don't know, it kind of touches me and it makes me want to support even more.
Yeah, you can really feel the passion from these developers when they're talking about these games during the showcases. And it's, games are a passion project for people working in games. I don't think anybody gets into game development that's not passionate about it because it's not an easy job.
It's a lot of work.
Speaking of being excited by some new and upcoming games, as I mentioned earlier, we have developers behind Little Hellions and Super Space Club, who I've already introduced. And you guys, I think I can say I've never hit that wish list button faster on Steam than I ever did after playing a few rounds in your guys' games. It popped up. There's so many times where I play a demo or something. It's like, wish list this on Steam now. And I'm like, that was all right. I'll remember later. But playing these, I was like, they popped up and I was like, oh yeah, right now. Yeah, no, they're great. Let's start with Little Hellions. I believe we've got some exclusive gameplay to show off today. Jace, can you tell us a little bit more about Little Hellions and what we're going to be, some of the footage, what we're seeing in some of the footage today?
So Little Hellions is a 4-player platform fighter. It's a passive-aggressive fighter, so you can't actually attack in this game at all. And so the core conceit is you have this thing called a trick hook, and your trick hook can grab your opponent and throw them. So your goal is to chuck your opponent into all the different underworld traps. So you've got buzzsaws and lava pits and trains and crushing machines and all sorts of stuff. And you'll have a lot of chaotic movement. It's very momentum based. And yeah, it's super. It's kind of like a sensory overload a little bit.
Yeah, no, I played a few rounds of this. It was giving me some kind of Towerfall Ascension vibes meets Lethal League and a whole bunch of other multiplayer party games that are just, I think you guys make them to test our friendships, just to, you guys want to break friends groups up.
It's a little bit of the Mario Party energy, right?
Yes, I think you guys do it out of the goodness of your heart. You're encouraging people to go out and meet new people and make new friend groups by, throwing away your old ones playing these great games. How did Little Hellions come about?
Oh, well, I started it almost 8 years ago at this point. In 2015, it was a Global Game Jam game. And the prompt that year was, what do we do now? And they specifically said that you couldn't make anything. Yeah. They specifically said you couldn't make anything that, it wasn't clear what you do. So it's okay, what do I even do with that prompt when I can't do the obvious thing? So we struggled with that for a little bit. And I eventually came up with the concept, what if you could be anywhere on the screen at any one moment? What do you do now? So that's kind of where the grab and throw mechanic came from, because you trade places. And then that's also where the underworld theme came from, because it's like, you're going to experience eternal torment for the rest of time. Well, what do you do now? And it's like, well, eventually this comes back to the pizza thing. You probably just hang out and eat pizza. It becomes your new normal after a while, right?
That doesn't sound like a bad normal at all.
Yeah, no, I love it.
The music in this game is also fantastic. It really gets you in the mood to fling your friends into spikes and lava, or be blown up.
Friends.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, that's
just a little thing, just a little.
A little tough love.
Well, yeah, you got tough love is the
Friendship
best
hurts.
love sometimes. You're also sometimes you get blown up by bomb pigs. Is I'm saying that right? Is it bomb pigs?
Yeah, bomb pigs.
Pigs.
Bomb pig is my son, for the record. Bomb pig is actually a recent invention too. So the whole Onion Professor thing, Professor Onion, that's a stream that I do on Mondays and Fridays. I stream game development, and Professor Onion is a character in the game as well, and they're kind of like your tutorial figure. And their lab assistant is Bomb Pig, and Bomb Pig was an invention of the stream. So like we were playing games on the stream, and we started like trying to come up with ideas, and eventually we came up with Bomb Pig, and I implemented them into the game. And it's like, oh no, my heart has been stolen. This is like the mascot for the game now. So it's very it was very kind of emergent how development has.
Now, speaking of things blowing up, or you blowing up, brings us to our other title, Super Space Club, being developed by Graham Reid. Graham, tell us a little bit more about Super Space Club.
Yeah, definitely. So Super Space Club is a lo-fi. There it is. It's a lo-fi arcade shoot 'em up to chill to, basically. I'm sorry, my own trailer distracted me.
It's a good trailer.
You're like, my
lovely
work
trailer.
is
This
so
looks great.
good.
It's a very
Like,
good
wait a
trailer.
minute.
Yeah.
Thank you. I describe it as a mix of, if you took surface level asteroids and then add in the character and vibes of Star Fox to it. That's what Super Space Club is. It's endless waves. You're chilling out, fighting all these different enemies. Coming late 2021, apparently. And yeah,
Hey, we just time travel is a thing in space, apparently.
Time travel is
wormholes,
a thing
black
in
holes.
space.
It's a thing.
Exactly. And yeah, it's simultaneously a very challenging game and also a very chill game. And you can't hear it right here, but the music is one of my. I didn't do the music. Shout out to Fat Bard for doing the music. And it's one of my favorite parts, because you can, whether you're good or bad, you can just zen out to playing the game. And yeah, that's, as you're seeing here, that's the Super Space Club. It's inspired by, if you know Housemarque games, I love all of their games. They're very arcade heavy, like Super Stardust HD, most recently Returnal. Those games inspire me a lot, and that's how this came about.
Nice. I love me some Housemarque games. Shout out to them. Awesome. Well, both Little Hellions and Super Space Club have demos on Steam right now, so everybody out there, go and check them out. Wishlist them while we wait for the full release. Now, before I let you guys go, I wanted to take a second and just chat about your experiences as a developer in the industry. You guys down for that?
Yeah,
Totally.
of course.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Ask all the questions.
All the questions. All right. Let's start. I'm going to start with you, Jace. What inspired you to become a developer?
Oh yeah, that's easy. It's the same story every time. I watched my older brother play video games as a kid, as I think many people did, and I recall the exact moment, the second I was watching them play Rocket Knight Adventures on the Sega Genesis.
Oh,
not
wow.
to date myself.
Now, I remember
And
that.
I
I
was
remember
like-
some Rocket Knight Adventures.
Hell yeah. I was watching it and I was like, I don't know what happened to that individual second, because I'd watched them play it a million times, and but they were playing it and I was like, wait, someone made this. And then I just like, oh, okay, I'm poisoned now. I have to just make video games. This is what my life has to be, and unfortunately is now.
How about you, Graham? What inspired you to become a game developer?
I feel like I was born to at least have games in my life. I found a picture for you guys.
Oh my
This is
goodness.
me when I was
Look at
like
that.
1,
Yes.
maybe.
Oh,
Mario,
And
the Mario
holy-
My
cake.
parents got me a Mario cake, yeah, and so it was Destinee, you know. It was Destinee. I always played games, but I didn't know I could actually make them because, especially growing up in Jamaica, there's no game developers. At least back then, there weren't any game developers in Jamaica. I went to college at SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, and then they had a whole game development course, which I didn't take. I did motion graphics. But one day, one of my friends invited me to do the Global Game Jam. And after that, we realized, we can make games. This is kind of dope. Around that time, it was 2012, I think. So I've been making games since then, on and off, for mobile, and finally with Super Space Club for PC and Steam.
Awesome. Destinee, you mentioned you wear a lot of hats. Where and how did you get your start in the industry?
So it's a really weird story. It was cool listening to everybody's kind of background in games. So I'll give like a quick synopsis, which is going to age me. But my first system, I was like 3 or 4, and my dad was in the military. We lived in Germany, and he got me and my little brother an Atari. So the first game that I ever played was like this really terrible Smurfs game, which was like MS Paint. You're not going to find it. You can try to look it up, but I guarantee you're not going to find it.
I don't know if Smurfs ever had a good game. So
no,
I'm right
probably
there with
not.
You. But
Yeah,
hey, I love the
But
cartoon.
I loved it.
We all have those games growing up, right? This game is terrible, but I love it so much.
I am a big animation nerd. So one of the things that got me into just like the industry in general was wanting to see more Black people in cartoons because I always watched them. And so I actually went to school in California, and that's how I met Justin. I used to hang out at his house and stuff, and I used to like crash on his couch. Yeah, we're family basically. So afterwards, I actually went to school for 2D animation, and he was in school for game art and design. And a couple of years later, they were working on their game Super Combo Man, which was, I think, like it went through Adult Swim, and then like it went through them. And I basically was brought onto the team to help with assets and UI design, and as a graphic artist. So that was my first step into it. And then like I moved to Korea for 5 years for some reason. And then I came back like 2 years ago, and I was doing a podcast that was about mental health gaming and just diversity in general. And so I got here in a really weird roundabout way. Like it was never my goal to get in the gaming industry, but I'm still able to do the things that I wanted to do when I initially wanted to get into animation. And that was create a place where I can see more people who look like us in video games, because it's well overdue. And I'm tired of hearing like, oh, it's the first time for this and the first time for that. Like I want it to be so commonplace that it's not a first time anymore.
Right.
It's just, this is a new game coming out, and we love it. And it's not the first time that it's had like an all Black cast or anything like that, like Black Panther or anything. So super, super excited about that. But yeah, that's how I got into it. Now I work for Freedom Games Publishing, and now I do the podcast with Level 1 Gaming, the incredible people. I just found my people, I guess.
Yeah, no. What's the name of the podcast?
So they have a bunch of different podcasts. The one I do with them is Double XP, and that's every Wednesday.
Everybody loves Double XP. Great name.
And they're like, I think Fame has been on IGN before and done a couple of interviews. And then Baron is their community director, and then Floor Hugger. I'm using all of their tag names and not their real names, which is ridiculous. But
it's the world we live in. It's video games.
The
real gamers out there will know who these people are.
That's true. Amazing group of people, and it's I've been very fortunate, I would have to say, to be able to be in an industry that I've grown up loving, and now that I can help positively, especially for the culture and for us. So yeah.
Excellent. I'm going to come right back to you, Destinee, real quick. What are you working on currently? Anything that you can kind of share that you're kind of working on?
Yes, I can give you some details. It's it's still in the process, but while we do like talk about like Black voices in gaming, I also want to give a shout out to women, right? Women in the industry doing different roles, whether it's a technical artist, voice actress, a graphic artist, and or developer. So I'm putting together something, hopefully, I can't say when, but I am putting together something where it will highlight women in the gaming industry. And that is my baby project right now. And right now we're working on the logo for it and getting the pitch deck together. And I'm super excited about that because I feel like our industry can be a little toxic when it comes to women. And I think we need a platform where we can talk about all the things that we've contributed as well.
Now, what would you guys say is the most challenging aspect for aspiring developers of color?
It felt like I was not the only one. I just didn't know where they were. I didn't know where to look to find any other Black developers, any other Jamaican developers. There are a ton of us. And yeah, it's nice to finally have a community where it's not just the same people you always see. You see also black men, Black women, Black everybody. It's nice. It feels more like, oh, maybe I should be doing this after all. I'm not trying to invade on someone else's space kind of vibe, you know? And I think that was one of the biggest problems I had coming in, especially after 2020 and all the things that happened. Yeah.
No, for sure. Destinee, do you have something you wanted to add to that?
I just wanted to say, I think that's something that we haven't really talked about, but the community that Black Voices in Gaming has created, right? So not only do you do the showcase, but like you always are able to go back to the Discord and like brainstorm with other developers, talk to them about how their game is doing. And I think that's pretty incredible because I will say that having a skill is really important, but networking is probably number 2. And so giving you that opportunity to network with other developers and bounce your ideas off of them. And the idea of like being represented, like what you said earlier, Graham, was just like, you didn't know if this was a space that you should even really like be creating in because you didn't see people like you in those spaces. And that's another thing that's very important about Black Voices in Gaming and why representation is important, period, right? Because being here and having you interview us, I think that's incredible because I was not expecting, I don't know what I was expecting, but like having you here to like interview us and it's like, hey, it's another woman of color. Yes. Like I get excited because you just don't see us in a lot of these roles, right? And it's so 100%. Important. And not just for us, but for those who are coming after us, right?
Correct.
So we're
exactly.
We're building those steps and that foundation for them so that like this is more commonplace. So yeah, I totally agree with everything you guys said. I just wanted to kind of highlight the kind of family that Black Voices of Gaming has created just by being what it is.
It's very difficult to get your voice out there in any capacity, whether that's on social media or whatever. So again, groups like Black Voices in Gaming are a huge, massive resource and are massively appreciated, at least from me. But yeah, I think that's a huge struggle for aspiring Black devs.
What advice would you guys give to aspiring developers of color that are trying to come up in the industry now? You've all been in the industry for many years. What's some advice you would give to them?
Don't give up. It's I know sometimes it's really hard. Yeah, don't be afraid. And it's okay to take a break. Like if you need to take a mental break, because it is hard. Like it can be overwhelming sometimes. So definitely if you need to step away, but just don't give up. And number 2, network. Knock on people's doors. Knock on their doors until they get annoyed with you, until they're willing to listen to you. And I feel like I'm serious. I feel like for like just Black people in general, like there's this idea in the community that we have to work like twice as hard. And from my experience in this industry and others, that it's been true. So, which is sad, but like, just put in the work because it's worth it, right? And don't feel like, oh, my game's not going to be successful because it's kind of like this other game. Like, nah, man, just do it. And that's my advice. Just do it, network, and don't give up. Take the breaks that you keep going.
There's so many games. There's so many games that come out that are like other games that people don't like or do like, end up liking. So what makes yours any different? Graham, you do have something you wanted to add, or are you just saying because Super Space Club?
I was just saying I'm making Super Space Club is like a space shooter,
Yeah.
but it's a space shooter that's dope with like black reggae infused music. So you have to add your own. That's probably my advice to aspiring devs of color. Infuse your own culture into your games because probably haven't seen that before, and it's going to make everything better if you do that.
Yeah, because it just screams authenticity. Like nobody knows your culture better than you. I definitely agree with all your points. Networking is a huge thing for me. That's how I got my start in the industry. Freelancing a bunch, meeting as any opportunity I got, making the most out of every time, and just kind of building those bricks for myself as I went. Speaking of building bricks and where we're going, that's a perfect segue. I didn't even intend that. That's not in my script. But what are some of your guys' goals for working in the industry? Like, what are your guys? What do you guys? It could be. What are your personal goals? What do you want to? What do you want to see what goals do you have for the industry itself? Like, what do you guys have? What are your guys' kind of thoughts around goals and like where you want the industry to go and yourself in the industry?
I guess I'd have two answers to this, but personally, I want to make games and not die. That's my, that's it.
Great. It's a great goal.
That sounds.
We did have the same thought. Look at that.
There's a small part of you that says that I think people might hear that and go, you should want more than that. You know what I mean? Like, I think people can hear that and respond to that. But I guess my in a more serious bend, like, I just want to be creative and produce cool things. And I don't think you should necessarily have to climb the ladder all the way to the top to survive in this life. Do you know what I mean?
Agree.
Like, I think you should be able to be where you want to be and live comfortably, right? And that's really all I want to do, because I want other devs to feel that they can do that as well. They don't have to start a big giant studio. They don't have to work at a big giant studio. They can produce projects that they're passionate about, that are speak to things they really care about, and then just kind of live a happy life, So, for instance, with Schadenfreude, I don't really intend to expand a lot. Like, expansion is not a huge part of the plan. We'll probably bring people on eventually just for like small tasks and things like that. But the goal isn't corporate superiority. It's just like having a healthy, happy life, basically. And to extend to the industry, I would love to see unions. Just more unions, please. Everyone should unionize, and everyone should work less. I think generally speaking, I think players might hate this, but I think video games should look worse. I think they should be smaller, and I think everyone would be happier.
I mean, we'd have a lot less issues in the industry with like crunch and stuff like that. If there's less, if we're not worrying about that. I've always been a firm believer of a 4-day work week. That's something I wish to see in the future, because give me that extra day to go and take care of my life and just live my life. Yeah. So, Graham, how about you?
That's hilarious. Like, copy paste everything he just said. That's what I was gonna say. Like my goals. We did. My long-term goals are to be sustainable and healthy. Like, I don't want to be crunching for the rest of my life. I did enough of that in college. I don't do that anymore. And I just want to be able to make dope games, bring people entertainment, enjoyment, something to escape to, or something to resonate with. And I also really want to kind of act as a beacon along with all of you, just to try and like show, hey, we exist, we can do this too. I don't want any young person now to think, oh, you have to go work at Nintendo to make games. No, you can make games right now in your bedroom at 5 years old. Like, that's a realistic thing you can go do. And I even have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/GrahamofLegend. And I'm trying to use that to just show people not what to do, but just show them what I've done and my journey, just so that they can get an idea of what a sustainable cycle can look like. And for the industry, yeah, I just want the same. All Jace just took my answer, like all the same things. 4-day work, 3-day work weeks. Let's
3-day work weeks.
3-day work
like,
weeks.
hey,
You know
all
what?
right,
Shoot for
I'm
the
for it.
stars. You know what? In your own life, keep it simple. But for the big stuff, go nuts. You know what? I'm down.
Let's go.
3 days
For sure.
work week.
No, but it's just
Utopian
more of
society,
us,
let's
more
go.
diversity throughout the industry. I think would be great too.
Perfect. Destinee.
Yeah.
I feel bad because I feel like as I was listening to you guys, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be the polar opposite. Because it's not that I want to make games, but I want to be one of the people in charge who's opening the doors for more people like us and for women, right? Because there has to be, and not just for Black people and for women, but all minorities, all the people who feel like they're not being heard. There has to be that person, right? Those people have to exist to open up those doors. And I actually enjoy giving people a platform to speak and to share their experiences. So I think in the long run, that's what I would really like to do. For the industry, y'all already know, like, yeah, work less, but also like more diversity overall, not just, about color, but LGBTQ community, like, and not just that, but comprehension, communication, and respect.
Yes.
Because you can hire people and have
Yes.
none of those things, and it's just
Right. And
what
it's
are we
gonna be
doing?
horrible.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I think the game industry and the indie game industry is young enough to not be built on the same old prejudices that a lot of our other systems are built on. And so, like, while we're in our infancy, I feel like we have that voice that we definitely need to push and make that a reality. And so I want to be one of those voices.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
I can't wait to see you because I have the utmost faith in you doing that as we move forward.
Thank you.
For sure. All right, well, that's all the time we have for our discussion. A major thank you to Destinee for joining us on behalf of Black Voices in Gaming. Thank you to Jace Boechler for showing us more on Little Hellions. And thank you to Graham Reid for inviting us into the inner workings of Super Space Club. I cannot wait to get my hands on the full version of these games. Everyone, please go out there and wishlist these titles to support these wickedly talented developers. And if you're feeling charitable, head over to IGN.com for our donation links to support Black Girls Who Code. Once again, I'm Jada Griffin, the community lead for IGN, and I hope to see you all in the arena for Little Hellions, or on the leaderboards for Super Space Club if Graham gets them into the game. Until then, though, have a great rest of your day and stay tuned for more Black Voices in Gaming.